Hey everybody, it's Honesty, and this is season 3, episode I'm Not Sure of the Right Honesty podcast. And today we are discussing Ashley Nicole's Just a Friend. I have lots to say about it, and Attorney General, I understand that you do too. But before we get to that, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm on vacation now, so I am
I'm jealous.
experiencing the freedom of spirit, mind, and body that you were talking about earlier in the month. I am there now. I am
I'm
there.
jealous because I'm back to the grind, but I'm glad, I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I think we should switch it up today
Okay.
because I think we're going to have a heavier conversation on the other issues. So let us both start with our loves. You can start, and I'll sort of piggyback off of you before we get to the case that we're going to file against Ghost.
And see, we are on the same side. So what did I love? I loved, obviously this is a tried and true trope, right?
Yeah,
I loved the addition of the group dynamic, right?
me
It
too.
made for hilarious moments, which you, as we talked about before, you always get with Ashley Nicole. But when you have four guys, and as someone who grew up with four brothers, she perfectly captured just the rough, straight, no chaser, no sugarcoating way that they talk, right? And I thoroughly enjoyed that because it did not feel like a woman trying to capture men in their element talking to their boys and someone that they considered to be one of the guys, so to speak. It felt authentic to me. It
Hmm.
read authentic to me. It reminded me of my brothers and my male friends over the years, when they reach that comfort level where they're not concerned about your feelings, right? So they're going to say what they have to say about people in front of you, about you, to you, right? I loved all of that. I loved it. Look, she kicked us off with a bang, right? With her how she met Demi, and my tiny supervisor is currently obsessed with Elmo, and so I remember
Oh my Lord.
right? I remember hollering and clutching my pearls and wanting to call some like puppet abuse agency that clearly
For
doesn't
sure.
exist, right? But the imagery of all of that was just another like classic example of this woman's comedic brilliance, because I was like,
Yes.
why we got to be defiling
Why
Elmo
do
in
this
this,
to
right,
Elmo?
this hilarious way that will never leave my brain ever, ever.
Right. Sweet little baby Elmo.
Exactly. Elmo didn't ask for that, right? Elmo didn't
At
ask for
all.
that. And then watching this, the kind of fast forward, right, and the dynamic between the five of them, because I really did feel like we were getting a sense of her relationship with each of them, just enough, right? Just enough in terms of her relationship with Tuck, her relationship with Country, right? Well, I should say the dynamic between each of them, right? I felt like I got just enough to be able to distinguish. It didn't blend for me, and I appreciated that, because then when stuff explodes, I was able to keep people straight, right? And clearly that helped in terms of understanding the different reactions of how things played out.
Yeah.
I love that they had adopted her mom as their mom,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And that beautiful relationship. Like they really, and we've talked about this before, right? This creating a family, right? We've seen
Mm-hmm.
different permutations of that across different authors and different books, but the creation of a family when you don't have blood, and the ability to still develop relationships with people as if they're your family. And that was particularly important for Demi, Tree, right? Whichever
Mm-hmm.
nickname we're going to call him, because he was a foster child, right? So he, of all of them, literally had to create a
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
which I think, when we get to, Honesty and AG versus Casper Ghost Mosley, right?
Mm-hmm.
The what was lost there is so much greater than just friendships, right?
I agree.
It was family that was lost. So it just, I loved getting, and I'm blanking on their last name, but the sisters, getting to revisit them. It's been a
Hale
while.
sisters,
The
the
Hale
Hale
sisters.
sisters.
It's been a while since I read their respective stories, but I was reminded of Reggie's craziness. So it was nice to see them. And she typically does that, right? When it's appropriate, we get a visit from characters from another story. And so there may be some people who had not previously read the Hale sisters who are now intrigued, like, oh, okay, so there's backstories for all of these people. Let me go find out about them. And I think that can be a nice surprise for people. So I really, really enjoyed this book.
Me too.
Right? Really, really enjoyed it. That said, my feelings about this couple were, complicated.
I would agree with that.
So that now I'm going to shut up. So what you love?
I loved how she met Tree, the whole blind date thing, but they weren't there to meet each other and they kind of connected that way. I loved, like you were just saying, that we got to revisit the Hale sisters, and we're not going to do the Hale sisters as a part of our AshleyNicole season, but I will say that I was very upset with her having read the Hale sisters, and she made us wait until the third book to find out what was wrong with that girl. But anyway, when they weren't being problematic, Lolo and Ghost were cute together.
Yeah.
And her moment when she was reconsidering, where I think they have dinner or lunch or something at her mom's house, and she notices how different he is with everyone. Yeah. And he's not speaking, he's not saying goodbye, whatever. And she tries to break it off. That moment really hit me in the gut. I was like, oh, you know what I mean? And I think the part of the reason why it was so impactful for me is because we don't know yet what his reasoning is, other than we all just agreed not to bother, not to fool with you. But that was a really sincere moment that I liked. Now this is not a like, or this is not a love. This is it was cute, and then it got old. Not old in terms of she wrote it wrong, but old in terms of I was projecting my lived experience. In the beginning, it was so cute that they were like a little gang and they were a family and da-da-da. But after a while, I was like, can y'all get out of her business?
Yeah.
Leave her alone.
Yeah.
So it became a little bit smothering after a while that I was like, I need her to cuss all of them out.
Yeah.
Because they too much in the business. You in my business. Don't do that.
Right.
So that, and then there were, scenes here or there, too numerous to name. I have read the book about 17 times because I liked, as much as I have issue with the backstory. Oh, I loved Country and Crawfish. Love.
Well, wait. Country, Catfish, Crawfish, and Crawdad.
And Crawdad, which was the cutest thing in the world. The surprise trip, I loved that I think they end up in a Virgin Islands somewhere in surprising her.
St. Thomas.
And St. Thomas. And I think, like I said, when they weren't being problematic, I loved them truly. And even the ending with them getting married and them still with the whole shut your punk ass up. And it's like, this is my wedding day. I am in makeup. I am in a gown.
Right.
Can somebody respect me, please?
Right.
It's
my day.
Exactly. Y'all got to, can cut me just a piece of slack. Right. Can we?
Right.
So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. And I kept coming back to it because the way that it unfolded was so artful to me. You think that she and Tree are going to end up together.
Yes.
From the way that it starts. And then you see that they're all sort of best friends and she still hasn't found her person. But the four of them collectively are her person.
Yes.
And then, when it narrows, so it kind of starts on a 1-lane road, and then it gets to a highway, and then when it gets back to the 1-lane road, that's when the barriers and the traffic jam kind of starts to get in the way, which is his having a secret about the true nature of the leave Lolo alone.
Yes.
And then, which I know we're getting ready to talk about, and it's probably gonna be the bulk of our conversation, how it ends up. So I will let you, counselor, give your opening argument. You tell me what was distressing to you about this.
So it's like I walked away from this story, and I think this speaks to I'm gonna take a moment and talk about my growth and my maturity as a reader, right? Because
Okay.
I will admit to, I think in the past, if I didn't like a character, conflating not liking the character with not liking the story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to freely admit to doing that, I think, years ago. And I would say over the last few years, I have learned to better distinguish, because those are two different things. There are times when they're joined at the hip, and then there are times when they're not, right?
Yeah.
And so I say that to say, this was an instance where I didn't dislike them, but I had a taste in my mouth about them at the end of this. I didn't begrudge them being together. I didn't begrudge their happiness. I didn't question their feelings for each other, but I was like, and I think that's the best way I can describe it, right? That said, I can separate that from the fact that I really enjoyed this story, right? She wrote the hell out of this story. And so with that kind of lead in, that prologue, so to speak, right? They both by the end just, I was like, and part of this is we're in our 30s, right? So I do have to remind myself when people are doing things and I'm like, yo, what are you doing? There are times I have to check myself because I'm like, let's do an age check here, right? And when I did that here, I was like, nah, I can't even give you that pass because she's 32, he's 35, right? So we grown. That doesn't mean we don't make mistakes. Doesn't mean we don't make errors in judgment, but I can't give you the pass of immaturity, right?
Yeah.
And so what pissed me off about Ghost was if it walks like a duck and quacks, right, it's a duck. And Ghost did one too many things that look like a snake for me to keep jumping through the mental hoops to be like, I'm sure that wasn't his motivation. I'm sure that wasn't the intention. I'm sure it just looks that way. And I just couldn't. At the end of it, I was just like, bruh, like you have not articulated to me a reasonable and justifiable enough explanation for why you didn't man the fuck up and tell your boy what was going on instead of keeping quiet, because you knew you were equipped with information that nobody else had, right? So the responsibility rested with you to make sure that he heard this from you. And whatever the fallout was going to be, let it not be said that you went about it in a snake way. And maybe not snake, maybe it's more coward than anything. Either way, I can't give Ghost a pass. And I say that fully recognizing that I don't think it would have changed Demi ultimately cutting everyone off. I don't think he would have been able to deal with seeing Ghost and Harlow together. Fine. That does not excuse Ghost for being a coward and a horrible friend in this situation. And what really cooks my grits is that they had been in this situation before when the shoe was on the other foot.
Yeah.
Right? And so if there was any, I wasn't sure how to handle it. Bruh, even that excuse was taken out of the equation because your boy showed you how you handle it. As awkward and as uncomfortable as it's going to be. Tree said to him, I didn't want you to hear this from anyone but me. And at 30, clearly that had happened when they were younger, right? We weren't given an age. But at 35, I cannot give you a pass for failing to do for your friend what he did for you when you all were younger than 35. So that like Ghost for me, and what bothered me on top of all of that was it seemed like everybody Like that the threshold question seemed to be, well, are his feelings for Harlow legitimate? Because if his feelings for Harlow ghost, if his feelings for Harlow are real, well then that absolves everything, right? He's not looking to mess her over. And I was like, that has very little to do with it for me, from where I sit, right? That has nothing to do with how he chose to butcher his friendship with this man that he had known for 2 decades.
Right.
And so that's my beef with Ghost. I want to hear from you before we get to Harlow, because she annoyed me with her overly dramatic, I'm cutting off the world before I even know what's happened. Woe is me, woe is me. I had zero patience and tolerance for that. And so I liked her up until that point. And I was like, girl, can you please, with the Jackie Collins dynasty not landing? You done thrown yourself into this well of silence, and you're not accepting calls, and you're not letting people know that you alive and not lying in a
3 days. How long was it? Like, she was gone a long time.
Yeah, it was like, girl, stop. And this was before Tree ever got nasty with her, right? No names were called yet. This was seeing the confrontation that you were pushing him to bring to bear and being unable to handle it. So I want to go in on her more in a second, but I want to hear from you, your case against Ghost. I'm going to cede my
time. My issue with him was similar to yours, but I think number one, my issue lied in that even being a conversation that they had to begin with. I hate when men conspire together and make decisions for women.
Fair.
And so that was annoying to me, which is why it kind of veered from, oh, this is cute, like big brothers or male best friends or whatever. And then after a while, now let me say this. On the first 7 reads, because I have read it 23 times, the first 7 reads, it was all hard eyes. Love, love, love. This is so cute. There's like 73 sex scenes, and she murdered all 73 of them.
Indeed.
It was hilarious. It was sweet. It was funny. From the gym, and there were just so many elements that made me feel like I was literally following Harlow around. I was definitely immersed in the world. But on read number 8, like I started to think about, like, well, now wait a minute. You know, she meets the one, and he goes back to his friends and says, not her. And they just all agree. And then as time goes on, Tree tries to muster the courage to speak with her. And it is Ghost that keeps telling him not to.
Yes. All of that. Yes. Oh, I'm getting mad all over again.
And so we get to the Hale sisters taking her out, and the boys showing up because they think she's going out with a guy that they don't know. And he sees her in the dress, and that pushes his little antennas up. It pushes something else up too.
Yes.
And so he struggles with it, and he has a conversation with her. But this is where I got mad at him. He has like 2 or 3 conversations with her before they actually do anything. And nowhere in those conversations does he reach out to Tree.
Yeah.
In fact, I feel like they kiss, and then maybe he goes upstairs and then he comes back downstairs and she's still there or something like that.
She fell asleep.
And she fell asleep, yes. And then they talk about it again. They have sex one time, and he says, I know I can never let that happen again. And then she pursues him. Right? Because after the first time, he's going to wash his hands of it. He's going to cast it into the sea of forgetfulness, never to be spoken of again. But it's her that ends up, he has the misgivings too, but he is the one with the information. And after all of these all of these moments where he could have done a U-turn, he never does.
Yes.
And so that left me to consider. And so as you get to the end of the book and you see that they go down to take the little baby back, drive her back to her mom, and they're at the club or wherever, and maybe the parking lot or something, and they end up fighting or getting started with that.
Yes.
Like, to me, Tree's anger is less about you got with my
Yes.
girl, my imaginary
Yes.
girl, and more about why you ain't say shit.
Exactly. The deception. That's how what
Yes.
I felt as well. That's what I felt as well.
Like we all spend
Yes.
65% of our time together,
Yes.
and you ain't say nothing.
No.
So I felt like the betrayal, like you're saying, was so deep because I've known you longer than you knew her.
Right. Right.
And so for you to, like you said, take the coward's way out, because I understand what it's like to have a hard story to tell and you're not sure how the other person's going to take it, and you hold on to the story a little bit longer to try to avoid the conversation. But like, y'all been on trips.
Right. Right.
Y'all have had a whole ass romantic couple's life.
Yes. Yes.
Right in my face.
Yes.
And you ain't say shit.
Yeah.
Like, you could have let me be in my feelings for a couple weeks. I could have fucked somebody that was in my roster and got my feelings together, and we could have sat down and negotiated what does all of our relationship look like going forward. But they all of them, to a person, they all just dropped him. The only person that checked on that baby was her mama.
Yeah.
Like, so I didn't like it. I liked it, but I didn't like it.
I'm with you on that, right? It bothered me that Country and Tuck were like, he never ghost loves you, and Tree never shot his shot. Oh well, I'm done. That's all I need to know. And I'm like, wait. We bypassing the fact that his best friend in the world was doing all of this, knowing how he felt about this woman, and never once waited for him to find out in the worst way possible.
Yep.
To your point, bypassed every single opportunity there was to go to him as a man and say, I know you're going to be mad at me. This is going to affect our friendship.
Exactly.
But I need you to hear this from me.
Yep.
So that's why I was kind of like, I got a taste in my mouth about this whole situation, because Tree lost his entire family. And
he did.
And he chose to cut them off, but I fully understood why. Because based on the reaction, Country and Tuck didn't get it. Harlow's mother, I wouldn't want to stay connected to her mother either.
Yep.
And it was already clear he couldn't and didn't want to be around Ghost and Harlow, and I was with him on that. I completely understood that,
And and to your point, how could he?
Exactly.
After the way they handled it.
Yeah.
It was.
I just had and I was just like, bruh, you 35. Like, you 35. Y'all been in this scenario before. Like, I can't give you any of the usual, young and immature. No, I can't give you that. Well, this is awkward. How do you handle it? The way his boy handled it for him. Like, I can't
You're right.
give you
that was the extra twist. There were two twists of the knife. The first was that it had happened before, and he showed you exactly how you were supposed to happen. But the second twist of the knife was you kept telling him to keep his mouth shut.
Yes!
And while at the time you didn't have feelings for her, like, it still could be construed looking back as if, something else was going on. So it looks like a double betrayal.
That's right. And I can't trust, I'm not going to go through the mental gymnastics to try and say, right, I'm sure that's not how he intended it. If I'm Tree, I'm like, nah, what do you call me? You're a dirty ass nigga. Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
Because the minute the feelings change, to me, that's when you go, like, in honor of the fact that we've been friends for 20 years, you come to me, you tell me, and it is what it is, right? Like, I agree with you that my bottom line as I walked away from this was, I thought it was less about his feelings for Harlow and more about the betrayal by his best friend. Regardless of how everybody else seemed to want to take it, I was like, no, his best friend did some snake shit to him. Like,
he did.
Sorry.
And I was really surprised that it was so easy for, and now also let's talk about this. The book can only be so long.
Right.
And I'm not sure that it would have served us to get 2 or 3 scenes of Tuck and Country trying to bring him around, or whatever. So in the interest of writing a straightforward story that's succinct and doesn't take too many tangents, like, I get it as an author. As a reader, I was in my feelings because
Yeah.
y'all,
Yeah.
that's y'all boy. Like, you don't
Yeah.
have no words for Ghost?
Yeah. And even I'm thinking about the confrontation outside of the club. Like when Ghost is finally coming clean, there was a little too much. It is what it is, yo. And I was like, no. Like, I'm not, you don't get to do me dirty like this. Right. And then be on some logical, well, I love her. It is what it is.
Right.
No. Because that's telling me, for Ghost to be like, well, I didn't expect his anger to be as, intense as it was. And I'm like, but you didn't.
But how?
Exactly. Like, your reaction to him finding out. And I'm not saying that you should have been begging for him to understand, but Ghost almost behaved like he had gone to him as a man. That's how Ghost was behaving, right? Like, I've come to you as a man to tell you, and I understand that you're upset, but I've come to you and I'm telling you this, and it is what it is. That's how Ghost was reacting. I was kind of like, wow, you're really taking liberties here, considering that you've been jumping through hoops to keep this from your friend. The other thing that we haven't, that I think neither one of us is touched on, was also kind of the point of, once it started getting deep with Harlow, she needed to know how deep it was in terms of how Tree felt about her. Because this whole shielding her from knowing the truth was also a disservice to her. Like, once he decided, at one point he says in his internal dialogue, I think with himself, was he wasn't sure where this thing was gonna go, right? And I'm like, fine. But once you said to yourself, "Ooh, okay, I'm this is more than just an itch, right? Because we done scratched it and it ain't going nowhere." You continuing to keep her in the dark, like he just on both sides. I was just kind of like, I'm not interested in giving myself a headache trying to explain away your decisions and your actions so that I can be okay with you, Ghost. I'm not okay with you. I'm not okay with you. I'm not okay with the way that you move, and by the time of the wedding, I was like, Harlow, girl, whatever.
Yeah. And to your point, it was so
bad,
Right. It was the indignation. But I don't understand your indignation, Ghost, because you did this.
Exactly.
Down to the socks. And I think it's like something you can tell a story with the benefit of context and inside knowledge, and it becomes gray, right? And you can say, well, I can kind of see this, and well, I can kind of see that, but Tree had nothing. And so from Tree's perspective, you knew how I felt about her. You kept telling me not to talk to her. You had countless times to say something. You never did. And when I finally found out you trying to fight me, it was ugly. And like you were saying, even about her, number one, that he had withheld that piece of information from her until the very end. So he becomes a villain by accident. I guess in the beginning you sort of understand, okay, the friends, and they said everybody gonna leave, Right. And it's not until you get more of the story that it's like, hold on now. You know what I mean? Wait a minute, this real. You looking funny in the light. This is not what I expected. But also, from Harlow's perspective, once her decision to run away for days at a time and not say nothing to nobody, it was kind of like, well, what is, for y'all to have spent as much time as y'all spent together, okay, let me say it like this. What we get of their collective time together, it was all eating food and dick jokes.
Yes.
And so if that's all y'all been doing for 6 years, y'all are really not friends. Because some real groundbreaking shit happened
Yeah.
and y'all all scatter.
Yeah.
Nobody knows the right thing to say. Nobody knows how to handle this situation. And her departure was strange to me because if for nothing, like I think she says that she reached out to him and he knows we see her. We see her talk to him and he shuts her down.
Yes. Yes.
And
But that's after
to
the
me,
3 days of silence.
that's after the 3 days, number
Yes.
one. I'm wondering how easy it would have gone over if she would have sent him a long text message, before that and let him read it at his leisure. But the fact that like no, it made it seem as if literally nobody said anything to him. Now I think Tuck and Country may have tried to reach out, but I'm not sure.
Yes. Yes.
But they did. Okay.
Yeah.
It just seemed like everybody scattered. Nobody knew what to do. She is, like you said, throwing herself across the bed and crying into her pillow.
Lord.
And it was just like, y'all are really old for this to be the process.
Yeah. 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 So I think the way it plays out, right? They take after Ghost puts Tree in the chokehold and renders him unconscious.
Yes.
They take him back to the house, and then he must like escape like a thief in the night because it's the next morning that they realize he has left the house and he has taken a flight and gone back to Connecticut, right?
Right.
So, and then they're trying to get in touch with Harlow, and this heifer done, run out into the wilderness naked, crying and screaming. I had zero patience for that. I was like, girl, if you don't pull yourself together,
I wanted her to woman up.
Are you kidding? I was like, of all the reactions, this is the reaction? Like, you ain't been, again, this is before Tree gets disrespectful towards her, right? When she goes to his office. This is before she sees them actually fight, right? She just hears secondhand that they got into a fight. And her reaction, to your point, was very strange. This, I'm going to shut off all contact and stay in North Carolina so I can wallow in my feelings about how this is all played out. Remember we talked about a wartime and a peacetime area. I thought to myself, Ghost, you better file this away, honey, because she done shown when wartime rolls around, she
can't be found
back at the headquarters, right? She ain't even gonna be on the enemy show. She ain't gonna be on the battlefield. She's gonna be back at the headquarters, hiding behind the toilet in the bathroom. Like, girl, are you kidding me? Right?
And like to not do the very thing that could potentially salvage. Because we've all fucked up with a friend.
Yes.
And had to say, I know you're mad at me now.
Yes.
And this might not fix it. And I don't know if we ever gonna be back. But first of all, like, I fucked up. I'm sorry. This is what happened. The minute you want to talk to me, I'm answering the phone. Like, we've all been there. We've done that.
Yep.
And the fact that she couldn't figure out how to manage that with these men for 6 years.
Yeah. It was
not 2, not 3.
Yeah, it was way too, and even, Ghost checks her about that as well. Because he's like, even if you didn't know what to say to Country or Tuck, I'm your man. Like, you're not supposed to be going days and disappearing off the face of the earth and not letting me know you're okay.
Right.
But to your point, she didn't check on any of them because she's too busy feeling sorry for herself. And so at that point, I was kind of like, okay, Harlow, I can't rock with you on this because you were the one pushing him to just bring it to the light, and you tired of hiding and all of this stuff. Like, I understand you didn't expect it to be as explosive as it was, but girl, I need you to have a little bit more backbone than this. Like, this is something.
Well, and that wasn't her first time doing that, right? Because there's some other issue that she figures that they need to break up and not have the relationship, and she goes all day without talking to him, and then she shows up at his
Yes.
house with all the reasons
Yes.
why they have to be apart, and
Yes.
he's like, and he tells her, talk to me before you make up these scenarios in
Yes.
your head and wrap yourself into some foolishness. So we understand that that's a pattern for her, but like, this of all times was not the time to seek the familiarity of that pattern.
Right. Right.
Like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
it was just, go ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
I know it was just it. Look, let me say this about Ashley Nicole's books: they all sneak up on you.
Yes. Yes.
You think you're reading one thing,
Yes.
and come to find out you're reading another. And
Hmm.
so it is easy. And this is, I think, a breakout success for her. She has like 830 reviews. I'm keeping track because when we
Okay,
talk to
girl.
her,
Get
yes,
it.
when we talk to her, I'm hoping she reaches 1,000 by the time we talk to her. Whenever we do, is I think it's next week, but I've been keeping track because this is at least I don't know if it's her most popular on the back end, but at least it's her most popular in reviews. So it is a worthy book to love. But a lot of her books do, with all of the funny and the sweet and the cuddly and the cute, there is always a line of something that, that at least for me, it'd be like the third or fourth read. And I'm not a slow person, but for me, it'd be like the third or fourth read. And I'd be like, no, wait a minute.
Hmm.
What's going on? And that's
Hmm.
where I found myself here.
Yeah. 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 And I know you had said she, at this point, and maybe we can, lobby her and beseech her together. Because I, I really thought to myself, Lord, I know this is a fictional character, but I hope with all my heart that he finds a way to heal, and
Yes.
would love to see him heal. And even if it is, the friendship can never be retrieved, it can never be what it was. But even if we never, if we didn't even have to revisit Ghost in Harlem, but for him to be able to reach out and say, I've let it go, or for
Right.
us to be able to see him let it go, because I felt, even though it was off page, I felt his pain
Yeah.
deeply. I felt
Me
what
too.
he lost deeply.
And that he moved across the
Yes,
country.
yes,
He was in
yes,
so much pain.
yes. And
Like,
I didn't like, when she goes to his office to make her case and whatnot, and he reminds her of the line that he said to her when they first met, or I'm petty and immature, or shallow and immature, whatever it was. And I was like, no, I'm dismissing that, right?
yeah,
We're not gonna let that one line, tell us, oh, he's just being petty and immature. No,
yeah.
they broke this man's heart. They broke this man's heart. Um,
Hmm.
and them being truly in love does not make that okay.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't make it okay.
No, I agree. And I know she said in her group that there won't be any other stories, at least that she could see right then at the time. Um,
We're gonna
and
start praying to the literary god. The tree starts haunting her in her sleep, honey. He's like, you gotta
I
tell
hope
my story. I hope so
so.
too. I hope so too. Because I felt what he lost so deeply. And I think that just completely overshadowed. You know, again, I don't begrudge them their happy ending,
Right.
but nah. I was like, whatever.
Yeah, I agree. I would like a story from him, sort of, because I would like to see him the way that we see maybe a little bit of Lou, not,
Mm.
disconnected,
Mm-hmm,
not
mm-hmm,
from abuse, but just
mm-hmm.
from having been, severely hurt.
Yeah,
And maybe he been running through women like water because it's easy,
yeah,
and comes up against somebody that makes him slow down and kind of helps him look at what that pain is.
yeah.
I might write it myself and make it fan fiction. I'm gonna ask her, can I do a fan fiction and put it on my site for free? And that's gonna take me 7 years, so everybody be prepared for that. But but I felt for him, and honestly, I felt for her mom too, because we talked about last week, was it whatever, week before last, I think, I can't remember, where we talk about when Oh no, it was last. Yeah, it was last week when you're the parent. No, it was
It was with
Terrence's
Laws of
book.
Attraction.
Laws of Attraction.
Yeah,
When your child is the child that fucks up, and you
yeah,
wish that maybe your son acted up, but you love your daughter-in-law, and
yeah.
you want to keep the in-law. Like her mom kind of got
She
lost
was
in this,
collateral
and
damage. Yeah,
yes, she
yeah,
absolutely was, and took the trip all the way over there, but he was so hurt that he couldn't stay connected with her either.
yeah.
So yeah, I felt that there was a selfishness and a immaturity to it that didn't have to be there. The whole thing was avoidable.
And it's to your point about how he handled things with her mother, right? Because query if he had been given space to,
Right.
time to process his feelings instead of everyone kind of converging on him, trying to get him to get over it,
Yes.
would he have handled things differently? I don't know. I don't know, right? But I'm sure that people swooping in when you've sustained this gunshot wound to the heart that's bleeding,
Right.
and
Right.
everybody's talking to you about, you know, let's get you
It's not
back
that
to
big a
running five
deal. Come
miles,
on.
right? Right. Let's get you back to the marathon. Like, okay, just let's move forward. And you're like, excuse me,
Yeah.
I'm bleeding. I'm still bleeding here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because like
Um,
while I was mentioning talking about it, I was able to skim through, and even in their conversation when he's understandably angry and he is lashing out because he says something like, y'all told me that, he's saying to Ghost, y'all told me you were cool, but you didn't tell me it was because you had just pulled your dick out of her
right,
mouth or something.
right, right.
And so they Tuck Country is like, well, we know you mad, but you're not about to be disrespecting Lolo. But I didn't feel like he was being disrespectful in that moment. Like I
Me
felt like
either.
his
Me
anger
either.
was righteous.
Yeah.
He should have been upset. Oh, the other thing that galled me was that her entry into the friend group was through him,
Yes.
but you don't have no allegiance or loyalty to him.
Right.
And it's not to say that you wouldn't date ghosts, but at least once you knew what you knew, to immediately try to do something about it.
Yeah.
But the other thing about it was that we all have in our friend groups, there are those one or two people who not really in the friend group.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? There's a
Mm-hmm.
group chat that they're not in,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
two people are closer together than the third, or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
And I didn't get that notion here, but I
Right.
mean, it could have been that was also it, which might have been why it was so easy for Tuck and Country.
Well, wait, remember, that's actually explicitly stated. I think it might have been Ghost who says in the beginning it was the trio. It was
Yes,
right. It was Harlow,
yes, you're right.
Demi, and Ghost, and
You're right.
Country and Tuck came
Came
later.
later, 2 years later. Yep,
So yes, it was the
2 years later.
trio, right?
Yep, you're
It was
absolutely
the
right.
trio, and it just, I just,
That
yeah.
makes it so much uglier.
It's just, it was just ugly, right? It's like and the reality is, I don't know about you, but I've certainly been betrayed by a friend, right?
Oh, for
And
sure.
I think, there's so many, songs and books and movies and this and that about love betrayal, romantic betrayal, right? That sometimes the betrayal of the friend and how deeply that wounds you. Woo! I sometimes think that gets short
Yeah,
shrift, right?
I
Because
agree.
anyone who's been betrayed by a friend knows how deeply
Hmm.
wounding that is.
You question everything.
You question everything.
Hmm.
And so my heart really hurt for him. It really
Yeah.
hurt for him. And as I reflect on my own life, it was a betrayal of a friend that really made me take a step back from female relationships. And I was kind
Mm.
of, I mean, I had grown up around boys anyway. My closest friend outside of family is a guy. We've been friends since we were
Hmm.
15. As we've
Mm.
got decades under our belt. And the funny thing is, we met through the friend that betrayed me, because she was dating him And
Wow.
he was on the basketball team. I liked one of his teammates. So while they were dating, he was putting in a good word. Mind you, I had a boyfriend, right? But we ain't gonna get into all that. But
Okay. Well,
you
now
know,
that's a
but
different.
he was playing scenes with his teammate, right? And they end up breaking up. Nothing ever happened with the teammate. But in the course of this whole quadruple thing, whatever was going on, a legitimate and beautiful platonic friendship blossomed between he and I.
Mm-hmm.
He is my family, right? And he and my husband are now quite close.
Yeah.
I know his wife. We all went to high school together. But I remember thinking, because the friend that betrayed me, she is still in my orbit somewhat. But I remember thinking, if I had to deal with that for the sake of getting this friendship that means the world to me, then I will take things playing out how they did, because that friendship was such a blessing to me over the years, with this guy. He is my brother, and held my hand through some really tough times. But I just, when she betrayed me, it was like a knife wound to the heart. And I was just like, wow,
Yeah.
So it's like when that happens, you talk about your heart getting broken. Friends have the ability, and I think we appreciate this now. Maybe when we were younger, we weren't using the words heartbroken when we were talking about friendships, but they have the ability to break your heart. It's a different relationship, a different kind of intimacy, but it is a relationship, and it's intimacy just the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
The vulnerability just the same. And candidly, I think you lose more, because I think many of us, when we were younger, we weren't necessarily having the romantic relationships we weren't necessarily having were, friendship and love and sex, right? The whole trifecta. It was like probably just the romantic and sexual attraction. And you were able to have a somewhat decent conversation with them, but you weren't necessarily thinking about, you should be my friend and my lover, right? So I think we were really dependent on our friendships to give us that, because we weren't necessarily thinking about the importance of having that in our romantic boyfriends and girlfriends. So you lose a confidant,
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I think if they were younger, I could have given them a pass.
Yeah.
But into your 30s, in real life, now in the life of the book, they did everything they were supposed to do to make it dramatic and etc.
Yes.
but in real life, you really understand the value of a friend over a nigga.
Yes.
Yes. And you don't, especially to have male friends who have all been respectful to you and cared for you. She sent a text message and say, "Who bringing me lunch?" And 4 of them put their hand up.
Yes. Yes.
You really, so I think that's why it was so striking to me that and easy is hyperbolic, but how quote unquote easy it was for them to just be like, "Well, fuck him."
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, or if not fuck him, like, "Well, we moving on."
Right.
And yes, they reached out to them, but to me it was a combination of too little too late, and also not enough. That boy heart was broken. His heart was broken because of Harlow, and his heart was broken because of Ghost. You can't reach out to him one time and be like, he ain't want to forgive me, so fuck him.
Right.
So that's why I felt like I wanted them to have, this is what it is, I wanted them to be more long suffering with him. And I wanted them to have more of a desire to see the friendship repaired. It seemed like they very easily pulled the plug. And to your point about wartime versus peacetime, in the beginning of your marriage and the beginning of your relationship, you say all kinds of stuff you ain't supposed to say.
True.
Like,
Indeed.
You don't learn how to fight your partner fairly,
right,
for a little while. And it's once you realize, okay, I can't keep pulling out this gun.
That's right.
Like, and especially once you know what the buttons are and the insecurities, etc.
Yes.
And so it felt to me like they should have known him long enough to know that his first reaction was going to be vicious. But if you give him time, he'll come around, And like I said, I know we were fast approaching the end of the book, and it was time to wrap this up, which is why I want him to get his own story. Because I would like to see, I already had my fan fiction in my head, but I would like to see how he recovers.
Because it would be a great, it would just be great to get the reminder that you can heal from that, right? And learn some things about yourself. Because again, I'm not giving Tree, a get out of jail free card necessarily, right? We all have to be accountable for our actions and how we handle things and whatnot. And as to Harlow, he did keep his mouth shut, right? He should have, if he felt that strongly about it, he should have said something, right? He chose not to. And he made the decision to cut everyone off and not have any more dialogue, didn't want to talk about it. Those were his decisions, right? And I'm not necessarily, I'm saying more than anything, I understand where he was coming from. That's different from saying, yes, that's exactly how he should have handled it, right? That's exactly, the adult thing to do. I'm not saying that, but I am saying I completely understand why he handled things the way that he did. And we could argue, well, but then he cut off his nose to spite his face. That may be, right? That may be that he chose.
I don't think he did.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is there has to be accountability on his part. I think particularly with Country and Tuck,
I can see that,
right?
Yeah.
Because we don't know what those conversations were. We just know it got physical, and he cut everyone off, right? And with Lo's mother, right, choosing to, instead of sending her a text message to say, I'm sorry, I just can't have contact with you, to let her, that she comes to the house and he closes the door in her face, right? And didn't even kind of type something out, like, I just can't interact with you right now.
Right.
So there's got to be accountability for how he chose to handle the collateral damage, because those three were, right? Lo's mom, more than anyone else, she was absolutely the collateral damage. Country and Tuck, a different level of collateral damage, because they didn't know what Ghost knew, right?
Yeah.
But it just kind of like, you're left with this situation where, again, I really just thought to myself, God, I hope he heals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Heals from this and is able to find love again. But more than anything, I want him to heal from this, because he eliminated 4 people from his family.
Yeah.
And we got the sense that this was it, right? That we didn't get the sense that there were other close friendships that also constituted family for him. So I was kind of left with the feeling that this was it for Tree, and he cut them all off.
But I understood him cutting them off.
I understood too. No, I got it. I understood it. Just
it was the
painful.
Safest thing for him.
Yeah,
in my opinion. It was in terms of his heart and his capacity for the bullshit. Because from his perspective, it's like, I don't have nothing to say to none of y'all.
Yeah, I get it.
You ain't had nothing to say to me. I don't have nothing to say to you.
I get it. I might end up begging her.
I know. Please raise baby. Because he needs it. I think he should benefit from.
Don't leave me like this.
Some kind of redemptive something.
Yeah.
And not just be relegated to the heap of sadness forever.
Yeah.
Because so some authors, when they, wherever they leave their characters in the book, for them, they feel like that's where their characters are frozen. So for example, some authors feel like if they leave their characters in a sex scene that, somebody's leg is in the air and somebody is doing on the twister mat, that's where they sitting until you come back and get them. Now my characters, they finish their scene and then they tell me what happened. But
okay.
But I know that AshleyNicole is one of the people that leaves her people on the twister mat.
Oh.
So he is just perpetually sad.
He's just broken-hearted out in California.
So we need him to get happy. We need him to come back to the world.
Yes, I'm sitting here rocking and wringing my fingers right now as we talk about it. I'm so upset for him.
Me too. So when she comes on, we can argue with her and tell her that she's a terrible person. And let this be a lesson to everybody listening, okay? Because y'all want to know why I treat her the way I treat her on social media. This right here is why. She's a terrible person.
Well, guess what? You feel free to use vinegar. I plan on using honey to get my beads. Okay, I'll be begging and pleading. Please, let him speak to you in the middle of the night. Let him come to you in a dream. Let him talk to you. Just open your spirit, open your heart. Come on. Do it for the state of Connecticut. Just do it for Connecticut.
Right. Do it for Connecticut. Connecticut needs you.
But again, a great story.
Great story.
Just, again, when a story has the ability to just take you through it, and these characters are walking around with you, right? And I said, I don't know if we were recording when I said it or not, but I think we both agreed that we were talking through the story to ourselves today in anticipation of getting together. Like, that speaks to the talent and the power of these characters and this storyline that she crafted. And listen, for all of the fictional drama, right, this is some real stuff, right, that folks can, tumble their way into romance from friendship. That happens, right? And then people not handling things the way that they should, and taking it even further, people completely effing it all the way up. Completely just snafu'd it from here to Kingdom Come and back, and you're just like, what are you doing? So for all of our for all of the things that might have been like, oh, this only works in fiction, that was very real, right? These decisions where you're just like, oh Lord, here we are, right? We done set the nuclear bomb off, and you're just sitting there talking about, well, I wasn't sure when to disarm it, so I decided to just let it explode. Sir, I need you to come over here so that I can slap you with like a razor-studded oven mitt. Like, just like, just because really, your logic makes absolutely no sense. And yet, we know that happens in life, right? Where you look at people's decisions and you're just like, how did you get there? What? Because you didn't need a crystal ball.
He was big and bad.
Yeah.
He wasn't no punk. Ghost was nobody's punk. No. So that was another thing that made me just be like, where were you on this? Help me help you. Like, what was on your mind in terms of like letting things unfold this way when they absolutely did not have to?
And that's what I mean, as we said, right? Like, every excuse that you might have wanted to give him, she took it away from you because she told you, well, this didn't happen before. And she told you they in their 30s, and she done give you opportunity after opportunity. And you're just like, okay, I got nothing.
Right.
Right. You's a dog.
I'm done with it.
Bro. Dirty ass nigga. Just like the tree said. Ooh, I'm mad at you, Ghost. I'm so mad.
I'm mad at AshleyNicole. I'm not mad at Ghost. I'm mad at AshleyNicole for ruining my nerves, as I regularly
I'm not going to be mad at her because I plan on begging. I need to be humble. So like I said, you use the vinegar and I'm going to use the honey. And hopefully between the two of us,
something happen.
It will make my year. She's like, he started talking to me because y'all nagged me about it, and he started talking in my ear. That would make me so happy. It's like, come on, literary gods, come on.
Right.
Because she
light her fire.
Right, she wouldn't be the first to have said, she's, and I respect that. Right, this is what
it's true.
Them. It is what it is. But then come back and say they would not leave me alone. Right.
Yeah.
And I appreciate when authors admit that, right? This character would not leave me alone and demanded that I tell their stories. I'm really crossing fingers and toes and hoping that Tree does that for her.
Yeah.
If it means waking her up in the middle of the night out of her sleep.
And nobody could do it like her. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like, nobody could really get into who he is and where he is, even if it's 6 months later, 2 years later, 1 day later, how he comes out of this. Because he didn't earn this. And I think that's the thing that makes me want her to go back to him so bad. He was innocent. Literally innocent. He did not contribute to this one bit. and yet they all, in order, shit on him. Like,
Yes. And for those who will say, well, he should have said something, that's not really the point,
no,
right?
no.
Because again, we're not talking about whether or not he would have gotten Harlow in the end.
Mm-hmm.
We're completely focused on his friendship of
Exactly.
2 decades with this man that owed him the loyalty and the
Yes.
respect and the consideration to have handled
Yep.
it differently.
And quickly, because I know we're getting ready to run along, he
so
didn't.
mad.
Number one, Ghost told him not to say anything.
Yep.
But then also, if he did want to bust out there and say something, who knows that may not have made a difference. She may not have ever had feelings for him. So it's not that he quote unquote wasted his time, because him approaching her in that way would have been no guarantee.
Right.
So like you said, the moral of the story from Tree's perspective is fuck friends.
Right.
Because you know what I mean? Like, nobody had it for me. I had it for y'all, but y'all ain't have it for me.
Right.
And that's a hurting place to be.
Yeah. No, I'm so mad.
Poor Tree.
So bad all over again. Tree deserves better. Tree deserves better.
Hashtag save Tree.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Okay, so I'm trying to decide if we should kind of talk about what have we done so far. We did.
I didn't mean to fall in love.
Didn't mean to fall in love. The
We
closer I
did.
get to you.
The laws of attraction.
Law of attraction. Bless your heart.
Village. Yep.
Yep. And this one.
Yep.
So as we wrap up our AshleyNicole series before we talk to her next week, is it next week? Is that true?
Yes. I think you said 7.
Yes, the 7.
Mm-hmm.
Which of the ones that we've done so far, if you could only read one of them, which one would you read forever? You can. This is your only AshleyNicole book that you can ever read again. Which of the 5 would you read?
That's easy for me. That's I didn't mean to fall in love.
Really?
Because it's my all-time favorite of her book. Preto Village would be close second, but yeah, I didn't mean to fall in love is my all-time favorite book of hers. Yeah, it just has a special place in my heart.
Yeah, I think of the 5. I don't know. I am torn between Didn't Mean to Fall in Love and this one, And Just a Friend. Because like I said on my first 7 reads, I loved their dynamic with each other, and even the little bus ride or caravan, whatever they got on the party bus, something, the Sprinter, that's what it was, down to North Carolina. And there were just so many elements that I literally was walking around in the world with her. Now, my all favorite AshleyNicole book, strangely, but I think I've already shared this, is Mirror's book. I don't know why. It's not her longest. It's not her most popular. It's not her, but for what I don't know. I love Mirror and Ireland. But yeah, I'm torn. I don't know if I can choose. I guess because I've asked you to choose, I would probably, I would say this one still. Because this one, it has sadness, but for me, the sadness snuck up on me, where it didn't mean to fall in love. It was sitting in my lap.
Okay.
So the other thing I was thinking is I was trying to think back on her catalog and to see if I could identify if there is a story where there's no sadness or seriousness that sneaks up on you, and I couldn't think of one. I was gonna say Rook and the girl Zenaida, but no, because of his mom and his history with his mom. Can you think of one? I can't.
No,
I don't think there is one.
I don't think there's one either.
And that's what's so strange to me, because she's so funny, but all of her books have a second side. There's like the other side of the coin in every book. And that's insane, because like I said, unless she puts it in my face up front, I don't see it coming. And it's like not until I've read the book 3 or 4 times and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, what the hell is this?
And I think, well, to your point, though, what I would say is that some are sitting in your lap immediately, and others, it may just depend on your life experience, whether it strikes you, whether it really strikes you, or you're just like, oh, that's unfortunate, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So I think take Rook and Zenaida, for example. That's one where I think, depending on your life experience, because Rook was okay, he was more than okay. He was well loved by his grandfather, right?
Yes.
And clearly was presenting to us as someone who, well, we would say, wow, have your mother not want to be bothered, but he was so well loved by his grandfather and his great grandfather that he seemed a-okay, which made the reader feel a-okay with, okay, no, he's okay, right? I don't have to be sad on his behalf because this man who seems very well adjusted and comfortable in his skin and successful as a person is okay with this, right? Whereas I think other situations, it's like, ooh, God bless you for being okay with this.
Yeah, for figuring your way around it.
Yes, because that's certainly how I felt about, Trist's situation, where Trist was as okay as he could be. And that was not very okay. It was more resigned, and it is what it is. And I'm not giving up on her, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And to your point about Rook and Zenaida, they were so abusive to each other, child.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh my God. And that was just a legit kind of like, oh, wow, it really did. Like, we knew where this was going clearly, right? Because we knew this was going to be enemies. But she did that so well that I was like, wow, these two really, they really are trying to harm one another. It's for honestly, real in these streets. It's for
they
real,
were not
for real.
Pulling any punches.
None.
Somebody should have called the police.
Yes. So which it's like, okay, all right, this is what we're doing right out the gate. This is what we're doing. Okay. All right.
You're right. I wasn't expecting it. And to be able to do it well enough that I didn't want to put the book down.
Exactly. Yes.
I never reached the point that I was like, okay, this is actually real abuse.
Yeah.
And so, because they both gave as good as they got, and it lined up, and et cetera, et cetera. Okay.
You're like, well, nobody's been paralyzed, so
right.